Now that you've had the opportunity to do a little comparison between quantitative and qualitative studies and see what each of those look like a bit more, particularly in the Week 9 assignment, we're going to dig into each one individually and really explore each one. First is Week 10. Now, you need to look back at your annotated bibliography, and you can see there if you have any articles, and this needs to be a peer-reviewed journal article, not one of your websites, that had to do with a quantitative study. Again, this is a study that should have numeric answers. Statistics are heavily used. If you don't have one within your annotated bibliography, then you will need to go and find a quantitative study that has to do with your PICO question. Now, this needs to be an actual quantitative study. It cannot be a prior literature review. It cannot be a metasynthesis or a meta-analysis, or you will not be able to answer all of the prompts. So you do need to find an article that you can read in entirety. So you do need to be able to see more than just the abstract. And then you're going to be addressing different prompts, and I'll show you that here in just a second in the quiz format again. And you need to make sure you paraphrase these responses and not just directly copy and paste them from the article that you have identified. So, once you click on the Take the Quiz option, it will take you over to this lovely thing right here, and you'll notice there's 12 questions involved. You need to make sure that once you've identified your primary quantitative study that has to do with your PICO question, first thing you need to do is connect or attach the PDF right here. If you do not attach your PDF of your article for us to view, then the entire assignment will not be scored and you will receive a 0 for this assignment. So just make sure you save your article as a PDF. That should be an option for anything in the Weaver library. If you run across any problems with that, you can also reach out to Jason Francis, our librarian, and he can give you more information. So you're going to attach your file here. You're also going to answer the following about your article. So you need to put the full APA reference, understanding that some of you will have access to this italicization button and some will not, but make sure that you put as accurate of an APA reference as possible. Hanging indents are incredibly tricky in this formatting, I understand, so don't worry too much about that. But have your APA reference, 6th edition. You need to tell what the research question was in the article. This is not your PICO question. It may be very similar, but what specific question was the research article answering? What research design was used in that article? What sample did they use? So give a brief description of that sample. Was it elementary school kids in low-income setting? They will often, or should always, have the number, so like 62 students or 385 schools, that type of thing. So please put the sample, as thorough of a description as is possible. You can also put the description of the setting. So was this in a large city? Was it in a rural countryside? This should be indicated in the article as a standard part of a research article in any peer-reviewed journal. The results of the study, and it's often found under a heading called results. And then what were the independent variable or variables within this study? And how about the dependent as well? Again, make sure the independent ones are truly the independent variables and dependent are truly the dependent variables. Sometimes students get these confused, and that would result in a loss of points. So double check those. And then what statistical tests were used in your study? Often they'll talk about a chi-square or an ANOVA, different statistical tests that can be run. You don't have to know a lot about them, just indicate which tests they used. Also, the implications, and this is where it won't necessarily come specifically from the text in the article, but this is your interpretation. So what's the implication of what that article covered in regards to your social determinant of health that you are addressing? So what is the implication of that finding to addressing social determinant of health? And what is the implication to nursing? Again, each of these social determinants of health then tie into a different aspect of nursing. So please make sure you address those. 11 and 12 are based on your interpretation, whereas the others come directly from the article.